career management and work transitions, as well as entrepreneurship, personal finance, and retirement. Kerry is the author of more than a dozen best-selling and award-winning books, including In Control at 50 Plus, How to Succeed in the New World of Work, and Never Too Old to Get Rich. She is currently a senior columnist and on-air expert at Yahoo Finance. Welcome, Kerry.
Hi, Maggie. Great to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Oh, my pleasure. Well, Kerry, you and I have had great conversations on SiriusXM Radio, and you have a fabulous column on Yahoo Finance. There's just so much to talk about in this career and finance space. So I'm really excited to have you here because there's a lot going on in the world of work and finance right now. And
That's
so it's
for
nice,
sure.
right? It's nice that people have you to go to. So you've covered all aspects of careers, business, personal finance, and whether it's as a columnist, an editor, a writer, all in national media. You were even on, and I love this, the Dr. Phil show.
Yep.
And the world of work has changed, as we know, and continues to evolve in these unprecedented times. So what do you see as some of the biggest changes impacting workers and their finances today?
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously a super question coming out of the pandemic. As you've seen with your clients, Maggie, that everything has shifted. I think the way we approach our work, the way employers and employees interact, there's so many interesting things happen. Even the most recent stuff, which I don't write about these specific trends. This one I'm going to mention in my book, In Control. This one, pay transparency. I got to say, this is a big deal now. The new laws are starting to roll out across the country. I think this changes the way employees and employers look at work, at how they're valued. And it's really helpful for women in particular, or minorities who've had trouble trying to figure out what the heck do these jobs pay, and am I underpaid or not? And there's lots of different nuances here, but I think pay transparency is probably one of the biggest trends we see right now. And that's going to roll out and just shift those things. The big trends I see that I identified a lot from my cohort, which is the over 50 set, but let me tell you, it's true for every age cohort, is these 5 major trends are that, yes, remote work came out of the pandemic, right? It was here before, but it just ignited because we were all forced to do that. Now, that doesn't mean that it is here to stay. The genie's out of the bottle. It's not as much as it was right after, during the pandemic. We've seen a study came out just this week from Pew Foundation, Pew Research, looking at hybrid work. And so not as much remote, fully remote. Hybrid seems to be the sweet spot, where a couple days a week, and that's really helping workers get a bead on work-life balance and some of the things that during the pandemic they realized were really important to them.
Mm-hmm.
It was a time where people took a breath and said, oh, it was really scary, Maggie. You remember what that was like during the pandemic. And when people didn't know what was going on and people had that opportunity to do that. And I think this might be one of your terms or close to it, that soul searching, that inner MRI. What is it that matters to me? Remote work was very popular. It turned out that really helped people get that autonomy and flexibility they look for in their work. The second thing, contract work just took off. Good and bad parts are there. We can dig into that. Entrepreneurship. Wow. At all age cohorts, again, this was all about, what do I want to really do with my life, right? And career transition, something you specialize in. This is huge. I mean, it used to be, oh, you're such a risk taker to do this. Do you have enough runway to do it, depending on your age? Now it's like, yeah, do it, do it. And the final sort of big trend I see is this emergence of education. If you're not learning, you're not earning. So the ability to pick up remotely virtual opportunities to take classes. You're not spending tons of money, but you're keeping your skills sharp.
Yeah, for sure. And it's easier and easier to get that education now. There's webinars all the time, degree programs online, and they have, more of the credibility now, right? The online programs as much as the in-person. And actually, Kerry, you'll appreciate this. I participated in a webinar recently called Changing the Narrative About Experienced Talent, right? That 50 plus crowd. And your name and advice came up, as did your latest book, In Control at 50 plus. So let's focus on that cohort, as you mentioned earlier. what can experienced talent do to feel more in control of their employment situation?
Yeah, you have to own it, right? You have to have a little moxie. I mean, don't let yourself get in this. A lot of people put themselves in a mindset where you're stuck in a moment. You're trying to replicate the job you had before. If you're looking for a job right now, a lot of people in this age cohort maybe were laid off during the pandemic, or they took an early retirement, and they're trying to get back in. And they realize with longevity, we do have longer working careers. I mean, the idea of trying to finance a 30-year retirement is pretty crazy, right? So if you can stay on the job, and it's not just for the financial piece, but for the mental and the health benefits, the psychological benefits of being relevant, being part of the world, being engaged in some way. So, but it comes down to you. You have to take control of how you look at your experience, what your value is. Really look at it. Pull it apart. What is it that you're really good at? And this is an exercise I know you use with your clients is, if you can't get it, talk to people around you about those things. What do they see as your best qualities? But I like just going back and look at old performance reviews sometimes. Give yourself a little boost. You know what? This is what I'm saying is that piece of it, the mindset, is something you do have control over. Nobody owns that but you. So these are things you can do to really bolster yourself. You can, if you're having trouble trying to identify, really how to articulate what it is you want to be doing, you can try things out. You can volunteer, you can moonlight, nothing's forever at this stage in your life. And when I said that, stuck in the moment, people do think that the next stage is going to be like the last stage of work, but hey, no way. It's like a patchwork quilt. You might do something for a couple of years and go do something else, or do a couple of different things. So I think there's an energy and an empowerment of understanding that, yeah, give it a try. And if it doesn't work out, okay, you didn't fail. And if it was something that was a setback, learn from that.
Yeah, I love that patchwork quilt metaphor or analogy for the world of work, and this idea of having a mindset to value yourself. There's a lot of good quotes about that, right? Like the world puts the value on you that you put on you. So that's really great wisdom and advice, Kerry. Now, as a workplace strategist, I'd like to get your thoughts on something else that's been happening that's unprecedented. At least I haven't seen this. And this is in terms of the job market. So what we have are, for one, companies doing layoffs, while simultaneously we're seeing record job openings. So what do you think's at play here? And what do you feel this means for job seekers and those that have been laid off?
Yeah, I think a lot of the big layoffs that we've been hearing about in the news are tech companies. And much of that is in the tech sector, which in my opinion, overhired to begin with. They expanded very quickly. With the rising interest rates and sort of the hope by the Federal Reserve to get a grip on slowing growth a little bit in this country, they've felt the pressure and have started to lay people off. But I'm telling you, those tech workers, come on, there are opportunities in other industries that are desperate for your talent, because every industry no one can ignore the tech piece in their workforce. They need people who are experts in this arena. So don't, again, get stuck in your lane. Look around. What other industries can I redeploy my tech skills into and really be an added value to them? So that's one of the big things. Yes, in fact, I think there was that, but the truth is that there is still a tight labor market out there, and it's pretty close. The numbers are not as extreme as they were, but it's still maybe 2 openings for every unemployed person in America today. So it is a matter of finding your niche, finding what it is. Again, back to when you're saying take control. What do you want to do right now? You look around and say who's hiring, but it's not just them hiring you, you're hiring them. So this is your time to think about what company has a mission or a nonprofit that has a mission that really appeals to you, that you can wear that on your sleeve and be proud of working for them and adding to their business. Again, it's always about the employer, not about you, but what you can do with your talents to help them forward a mission that you believe in. So in the big picture, yeah, it looks like I mean, even this, some of the numbers are softening a bit in terms of the unemployment market. There are more people, but it's nowhere near it's much better than it was pre-pandemic. And the opportunities, what I have found is people, especially when we were talking about my age cohort, the over 50 set, employers, gripe about how they can't find workers with the right skills, but what they really want is they want someone who can come in and do the job right now. They don't want to have to, train you to all that onboarding stuff. Come on board and start right now. And I got to say, I was hired myself at Yahoo Finance a year or so ago. And I wasn't looking for a job. The recruiter, I'd been running my own business for 20 years. The recruiter found me on LinkedIn. So please have a great LinkedIn profile. You never know who's going to come looking for you. And they offered me something that I couldn't turn down. And it just, on one level, I think it was because I could just go and do the job. Like nobody had to train me to do this job. I've been doing it my whole life. And so it was seamless. It was a great fit. But as one does when you are looking about whether to accept an offer, I asked my sister what I should do. And she said, Kerry, what's the worst thing that can happen? If you're not happy with it, you leave. And it's not exactly going to ruin your career at this stage in your life, And that was really, that was a sense of freedom, realizing that, I can take a risk. I can try something new, a different, the largest platform in journalism I've ever worked for at Yahoo Finance. It's huge. And so it's just it's really funny, and it's totally re-energized my career and the way I approach my work. And I think everyone should look at job opportunities that way, that it's such a positive in our life, no matter how old you are.
Wow. I love that. I love your story. And I love that you're taking the advice that you give, right? You said, if you're not learning, you're not earning, right? And you were able to step into a new format. Yeah, it's similar content, but it's a new format. It's a new place. It's working for someone else. That shift from entrepreneurship to having a job can be a challenge. Now, I guess we've talked about some trends for the future in terms of managing people's careers, or at least trends affecting them. Let's say, what advice might you give them in terms of managing this unprecedented environment, right? There's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of freedom. You're like, take advantage of whatever you can. I mean, are there specific, areas or stories you've been writing about recently that you feel like would be some great advice that maybe people haven't been hearing?
Well, I do think, as I started at the beginning talking about pay transparency, I think it's really important to understand what a position is paying. And even if it's a bit of a range, some of the companies are doing it with a wink, 90,000 to 900,000. But the point is, if you can get a beads, and especially for women, you've really, more now than ever, you need to have that information as much as you can and negotiate. And really, if you believe in yourself, and don't accept something that's going to make you feel less than, and because you'll never be happy there. It's never going to be the right thing. So that, to me, moving forward, is going to always be part of the dance. And we can have more power now than we ever did before. I think also you need to be open to change, though everything is changing so quickly. So even that, when you're in a position, when you found a job you love, it's constantly changing. So you need to be quite nimble and understand that. Don't let yourself get too comfortable with what you're doing. Always be reaching out to meet, network. I mean, you talk to your clients a lot about this, Maggie. It's important. You never know who you're going to meet, that it might just spur you to think of a different way of looking at your work, new opportunities. So that's all very good. And more than ever, you need to, if you are working for yourself, be very disciplined about saving for retirement. If you can, with this longevity I mentioned before, with the possibility of having 3 decades, if past the normal retirement age, which was considered 65, and really is a bit of a misnomer these days. But people do often step out of the workplace because of a health issue or caring for an aging relative, which is where that lovely thing about remote work and contract work can really help you deal with some of those situations. But again, you need to be constantly looking at how you can add value, but keeping your eye on the horizon, because things shift fairly quickly, and jobs are being created today that that didn't even exist 5 years ago. So,
Not even last month.
I know,
In some
I know.
cases.
And the thing is,
Yeah.
for older workers too, I love remote working, or if it's a hybrid thing, okay, but really pure remote jobs are fantastic if you do have any health issues, or fighting ageism, because when you're not front and center with somebody a lot younger than you, and you're being judged on your performance and your productivity as a remote worker, it's huge in fighting ageism. And I think that that's important for people as we get older to understand that there can be a real plus there. Or if there's a health issue that makes it difficult to commute to an office, this is another reason why remote work can be fabulous. But again, you still have to reach out. You can't isolate yourself. You're not going to get promoted. You're not going to find new opportunities at work if you don't make yourself do that, inner office connecting with people, even if it's virtual, but hopefully you can get out and meet them in person as well.
Oh, really great points. I love the additional benefits of remote work, right? And just managing some of those biases that people have. One last question, and this one is our shared mission of helping people live with purpose and joy in their careers and in their lives. So any other tips that you have for helping people develop that mindset, about being purposeful in what they do and having that higher passion or that higher meaning?
Yeah, I think it is absolutely essential to doing great work is to do, there's the expression, lead with your heart and align with your heart. And I think that is truly what works. And like, I love this, writing a personal mission statement, and maybe you revise it every 6 months or every year. I have my mission statements. I really, every assignment I take, everything I've done for the bulk of my career is always about, I ask myself, will this have a positive impact on someone's life? And so that helps me make decisions. And so it doesn't have to be super complicated, but companies all have mission statements. We need them. And that gives you a guardrail. It just gives you an idea of what matters to you. So you don't start chasing the money. You don't start chasing a flashy title. You just stay true to align with your heart and what it is. And I'll tell you, you'll do some of the best work you've ever done once you make that mindset, that shift to it. And there's so many great companies and organizations out there that really can benefit from your talent. But take the time. And when you start applying for jobs, you don't need to apply for 50 jobs. Find 10 that really are companies that really you admire. And once you tell them that, my gosh, people love to hear that. A hiring manager, really, if you're true and you're honest and authentic, they love that.
It's really true. And I think it is the secret sauce, right? To career happiness, success, to energy, right? I don't care what your age, everybody's like, whoa, I need more energy. And that passion and purpose really shines through. Well, Kerry Hannon, thank you so much for being here. I know people could find you on Twitter, on your website. Do you want to share some of those, your LinkedIn profile, where they can best find you?
Oh, thanks, Maggie. Yeah, kerryhannon.com. So KerryHannon.com. At Twitter, it's just at Kerry Hannon. On Yahoo Finance, I can't think of it right. You just have to Google Kerry Hannon, Yahoo Finance, and all of my columns will come up.
Yeah, and I believe I found a link, so I'll try to put that in the show notes to help you too. And you're on Instagram. I love your Instagram as well. I've been following you there at Kerry Hannon.
Thank you. And then LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn. So reach out to me. But, I love all this stuff. I think it's really fun. And I'll just say one quick shout out about if you're over 50 and you find yourself, you're working for a younger manager or younger boss, trust me, it is the best. I mean, my new editor is a couple of decades younger than me, and she is awesome. And the energy, and she's so smart. And I love, we just have this great relationship where we respect each other. And that's what you're looking for.
Wow. See that? Mutual respect paves the way and builds relationships. Well, Kerry, I have a ton of respect for you, and I thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for sharing your insights with our listeners. I appreciate it.
Thank you.